This is Gemstones and Whiskey, an Outlander podcast. I'm Ashley Alexandra.
And I'm Reena Ezra.
And this is Season 2, Episode 3, Useful Occupations and Deception.
Wow. We got 4 words in that title.
Kind of
what a long
title.
It is. It really is. We're playing it after the opening sequence now. So how's everyone enjoying France?
And by everyone, do you just mean me?
Yes.
I will speak for the peoples of this podcast. Listen, it's beautiful. I'll say that. I'm loving the costumes. I'm loving the fabrics, the colors.
Yes.
Loving all that.
Yeah, the fashion, the new faces, the fact that I know there's new exciting things lurking, but also because I know in the back of my mind there's gonna be even darker stuff that may happen.
Right.
So I'm just kind of preparing myself for that.
I'm glad you went with the plot because I just went strictly aesthetic.
No, I like it. We covered all grounds.
Here's what I'll say. One thing I don't love. I feel like Claire and Jamie haven't been able to really connect
since they've been here.
Yeah, we haven't had the privilege of seeing much of.
Because I feel like they've immediately gone into these are our duties, these are our responsibilities. Now we're running a house. Now we have to do stuff for the Jacobite Rebellion, and now we're taking care of all of these tasks, and
And I do struggle a little bit just with the whole plot of them trying to stop the rebellion.
I don't think they should be doing it.
Kind of annoyed that is gonna, I don't know, be the root of everything that happens this season, because I don't like the plan. I don't agree with it.
I agree with that.
I do not co-sign.
Yes. Yes.
So then it's just they're busy because Jamie's trying to scheme things.
When they could be just living such
a
bad life. Yeah, a luxurious, peaceful, enjoying each other moment to moment. But they're both stubborn though, and they both are set in their ways, and they both decided they need to do this.
I also think neither of them are suited to living a life of luxury.
They're not.
I don't think they can be comfortable.
That is a very fair point.
I think they have to be active and doing things.
They're both from a working class.
Yeah.
Those, right? So they're both very they can't sit and do nothing because they always like being hands-on with. They like being useful.
Right.
Right? Having their hand in whatever pot, but also, she's pregnant. I'm watching this scene and he touched her belly and I'm oh yeah, I have to remind myself she's pregnant.
But I also think that's because the show, we're not being reminded that she's pregnant. Which, again, is strange because I think under different circumstances, that's all at least Jamie would be able to think about. Yeah. I really feel like there's an alternate universe where they're at Lollybrock and Jamie just everything is about the fact that Claire is pregnant. Yes. And Jamie wouldn't let her move at all.
And here there's
the bears.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, I picked this flower for the bear.
Yeah.
You have to drink water for the bear.
They'll be talking about names. Yeah. They'll be talking about, what would they, do with the kid when he grows up and what they would, how they decorate its room or whatever. I feel also here, Claire and Jamie have been spending more time apart. If you just see in the first scene, he was in and out of the house, came in, had to change, was moving on, doing this. And again, we were talking about last episode, Claire's spending a lot of time with the aristocratic women.
Yes.
Who are doing what? Just gossiping or playing cards. They're playing cards right now. But it's just she's one of the boys. We talked about in Scotland, she wasn't hanging out with the women.
90% of her time in Scotland was spent in the woods with a bunch of men.
Yes. Yeah. And it's funny, she wasn't a huge fan of that, but it definitely grew on her. And now she has to readjust.
Though.
Yeah, no, I think she was given some time. Yes. Yeah, and she fought it at first.
Yeah.
Which is, like, I also get it because they were just strange men in the beginning.
And I really do think, like, the happiest we've seen them is when they're just, like, living in the woods together. Like, those times where they're, like, figuring it out together in the wilderness.
Yeah.
They both seem perfectly content. Mm-hmm. But I guess that's also because a lot of times when they're with other people, it just complicates things and there's other plot lines at play that are making they're making life more difficult for them. So like when they're alone in the woods together, usually it's a little more simple. Mm-hmm. Even though those moments are temporary, you know, they can't just live in the woods forever.
Yes. They're also, Claire being the older woman. Ooh, okay, so here we go. Flashback, right? With they said Frank's grandmother was also a historian?
Oh, maybe. Or she just kept good records.
Oh, I guess. Yeah, I guess this was his... Oh my god, oh yes, they're going through the Randall generation, 7 generations. They're talking about now Jonathan Wolverton Randall marrying Miss Mary Hawkins.
Who is the, like, 14-year-old girl, or whoever it is, that's staying with Claire's new aristocratic friend here. And so Claire has this moment where she's like, oh my god. Because in last episode, we found out that Blackjack Randall is not, in fact, dead. Mm-hmm. And so now Claire's holding that secret and realizing that has to be true and that must not change because he does eventually marry Mary Hawkins.
Yes.
Although
ultimately
she knows that he dies at the Battle of Culloden. Mm-hmm. So his days are numbered. But now she's, like, met this poor girl who's, like, obviously too young to reasonably be getting married.
Yeah, she does.
Tradition.
The actress does look like she could pass for a young teen.
Yes.
Like, she does look very young in this role,
And so now Claire, again, a more modern woman, even though it's 1940s, is, like, looking at this 14-year-old girl, knowing what a monster Blackjack Randall is. Yep. And that is a lot of weight that she's now carrying.
Yeah. And also, coming to the realization, I guess, cause, you know, like, obviously the lineage continued for the Randalls, because Frank's there. But it's still a weird thought to be like, oh my god, there's more of them? Like, Blackjack he's you know, she doesn't like him, and he's a monster in ways. So it's just like, she's living in the present time, being in France, and having to see all of this play out is going to be... It's probably a bit much already. But I do love how Murtaugh is definitely having a taste of France.
Murtaugh is, you know, I'm real happy for him.
Yeah, I am too.
Murtaugh...
He's enjoying the women.
Yeah, is enjoying Suzette.
He's doing what you should be doing in France.
One of the ladies' maids. Women?
Yeah, he's probably doing... Well, not just women, I'm just saying... Yeah, I'm you know, like, that he is he's enjoying his time.
He's loving.
Vive la Murtaugh.
Laughing.
Yeah, instead of, like, Claire and Jamie, they're so serious.
Yes.
What a drag. They're constantly serious. It's like, really, you're so powerful, you have to change the world.
Yeah,
the history.
This season so far, yes, they're both very... I think also Murtaugh's definitely taking the brunt of some other frustrations that Claire is having. I think, yeah, she said...
Well, I think she's, you know, a little envious, because Murtaugh is having sex as the woman, and Claire has not. She's also pregnant, and, like, obviously her hormones are all over the place, and she has not had any sexual, or at least passionate...
Not successful... Right,
that we know.
They had a little interaction
while she was pregnant.
When she waxed her hoo-ha.
Oh, true. Very true.
But I don't think it didn't really go anywhere.
Very true. Yes, but also we know that's been some time now. That was some time away. In episode 3 is it's a little bit later on, and she just hasn't, like...
And she's now carrying the weight of these two revelations, and just shared, she could not keep it to herself, which is understandable, so she let Murtaugh know that,
that
Blackjack, I'm sorry, alive. Every time today that I've tried to say it, I want to say Jack.
The people know who you're talking about. So
Claire has just told Murtaugh that Jack Black Randall is still alive.
And also that his brother is here.
Yep. And they're trying to figure out whether or not to tell Jamie. Murtaugh's like, listen, just keep it to yourself.
I mean, like, would you withhold the information from Jamie? I don't know if we talked about this last
really
episode or asked, because you do know eventually he has to see him or bump into them they're around the same party of people in France, in Paris.
I don't see myself, like, immediately being like, oh, hey,
I won't jump at it.
You. Like, I would need, given the circumstances and, like, his seeming vulnerability at the moment, right? And, like, the fact that they aren't connecting in the same way they used to, I think, I would be trying to figure out the correct time to share that. And I guess also it buys her some time too, maybe to find out more, right? Because now the danger is that clearly Jonathan, because of the way the Duke presented it, the Duke was like, oh, they're friends of your brother's, and he's like, oh, I'll have to write him and let him know.
Great.
So Claire knows, like, okay, well, he's now gonna know that they're in France and exactly where they are and what they're doing.
Yes. And of course he'll find them. He has to start, right? Like, it's never Blackjack. He's never one to just, sit back and not go after something that attracts him.
Yeah, so I think I would probably buy myself a few days of trying to see what other information I can gather to assess what the possible outcomes are of this, and the best way to present the information to Jamie. What about you?
The same.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely would think about it very, very similar to the what you just said.
But never would I try to decide to not tell him. Like, to ultimately, regardless, not tell him at all. I would never consider that.
I wouldn't keep it a secret forever until the end of time. The main thing is because, like, I know it's also a trust thing that it's not even an if, it's when the time comes where they see each other again, meet each other again, which is obviously going to be a trigger for Jamie. You don't know how he's going to react. I mean, it's possible that he can keep himself together, or it's possible that he'll fall apart a little. We have no idea, but I wouldn't. Like, if it came out when he finally meets a Blackjack, and then, he asked me, be like, oh my god, did you know? Like, what would I lie to him? And then I would be like, oh, you never told me, blah, blah. And then you have that whole dispute again, which is just like, we don't need to be in another phase where we're questioning each other's trust.
Right.
And
that's really the only thing that they've never questioned.
Yeah,
for each other. Yeah. Ever. Yeah. Like, she was like, I'm from the future. And he was like, okay, babe.
Yeah, like, that's true. That's very true.
So,
They've had so much now as a foundation with each other. You can, like, they've been through so much already, and we're only in season 2. And that's something you don't want to be, rocky about. Like, you don't want to be doubting. You don't want to be, and, like, that's very true. That hasn't been a thing that's been questioned.
Here's a thought I just had, though.
What?
I was like, what if the roles were reversed? I almost guarantee that Jamie would not tell Claire
Yeah, probably
because I think he literally would be like, well, I'll just kill him.
He as usual would want to take the role of protector.
And be like, literally, she'll never have to know that he was alive at any time because I will just kill him. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Claire can't offer that. Mm-hmm. So I think it's more about how do I present this information and how do I anticipate kind of what to prepare for so that I can present more of like a plan or be prepared to strategize about what to do next. Yes. But yeah, I think it's interesting because I really doubt that Jamie would. Like I could see him being in a position where they all end up in the same place and him being like, oops. Sorry, I didn't tell you.
Yeah, no, I like how you explained that. It was, I totally. I also don't. Sorry, that gentleman who walked by in this scene. I already don't. Yeah, I don't like him. We don't even know what his deal is yet. But already, like, they obviously didn't get off on like the right footing because his ship had to be remembered in the beginning when they came here. Yes. The whole outbreak with the disease, and then his ship and his goods or whatever had to be burned and everything, and like. But also, I'm skeptical when the apothecary guy.
Monsieur,
why am I blanking on his name?
Clément.
Yeah, when he came into the picture, I'm also, maybe just in general, I'm skeptical of every new character. Just because, like, have we not learned from season 1? And you have to wait to see who's going to be an asset, who's going to be, like, helping you, and who's going to be against you. I mean, will take us some time to feel it out. But I don't know what this guy's deal is. I mean, he's had this shop. He knows a lot of people.
So this is an important conversation that's happening. So yes, so definitely, okay, 2 reasons to be suspicious of Monsieur Clément. One is that the last mystical person that Claire befriended was Galus, who kind of saved her life. But before that, also really complicated.
She was
her
a
life.
bit of a troublemaker. Yeah, they always seem to be troublemakers. Yeah,
like there still was something there where it seemed like she wasn't being a genuine friend, right? Okay. The second thing is
looking out for themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. Second thing is Claire returns to his shop and he's having a seemingly friendly conversation with the Comte Saint-Germain, which would be, I don't know, indicate that maybe he's not trustworthy given her situation, right? So if Comte is seeing her as a threat and he's friendly with Monsieur Raymond, like, I would assume that I can't trust this guy who's friends with that other guy. But the important conversation that happened there, Claire's now inside the shop and she was like looking through his stock and she grabbed, forget what the name of it was, but something that's supposed to be really poisonous and actually like cause death. And she's like, interesting, you sell this here in your shop? And he's like, well, basically like, it looks like I sell it here. What I really do is swap it out for something that's less powerful and they're less potent and it causes like a physical reaction and it makes a person ill, but it doesn't kill them. And it's called bitter cascara, and that's something that's going to become important down the road.
For sure.
But here, essentially, they seem to be developing a little bit of a relationship. Because essentially Claire went to find something that could work as birth control for Suzette, who's the...
It was so funny in the scenes.
Oh god, I love that outfit.
In scenes earlier, she was saying Murtaugh, she's like, you ever thought of birth control? And Murtaugh's like, control? She's like, whatever, I'll just get something.
Which is like very progressive. Yeah. Definitely looking out for Suzette. I mean, although, I'll take that back. She didn't have a conversation with Suzette to determine whether or not she was interested in having a child. So
no, it's just the classic Claire thing where she just takes it upon herself and she does something about it. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, but I agree. Like it's so funny because she's going around to places where there's a bunch of a lot like poor people on the steps of this church. Is this cathedral?
It's a missionary hospital.
Right, but the building itself was originally right. I'm assuming, I don't know. I'm just seeing stained glass windows and the arches and the architecture. But she's like she just like it's just weird from the last season where. You know, she wasn't wearing all these, like, fancy clothes, and she was, like, in the woods, and she was, like, talking to people who were more poverty, more unfortunate, or who people were ill or sick or whatever, and, like, now she's, like, walking through, like, she holds such a different status. But, I mean, I also think, like, Claire is, once again, looking for something to do with her time that can be a benefit to others, and using her medical experience because she was just talking to the gentleman at the apothecary to use her talents, you know, in this area, and obviously she wants to use it for good, but so she's probably going to be helping, you know, a lot of these what is the like sickness? It's varying, right? A bunch of people who were ill here have many different illnesses or diseases. It's not one specific outbreak,
no. This is essentially like
it's a variety hospital.
Of cases. Yeah, okay. So it's like anyone who's sick, and
because there are some people who are in really bad condition here.
Yeah.
So I just didn't know. I couldn't remember.
No, it's a variety. And it's interesting, they kind of introduced a cast of characters here. So it's, again, like a missionary hospital, so it's run by nuns. And they also have a butcher who comes and helps with, like, surgeries and stuff like that.
Mother Hildegarde?
Mother Hildegarde is the one who runs a tight ship. She's in charge. Claire's like, hey, listen, I'm really good at this stuff, so can I work here? And she's like, you can, like, clear the bed pots. And Claire's like, all right, sign me up. Because, again, she can't, like, take another, like, lunch with the ladies or, like, sitting around in an empty apartment.
So bored of that.
Yeah. So here she is. Of course, she can't just do the chamber pots. She's also now diagnosing, I think, this person with diabetes.
Yep. Also, it is so clever or fun, like how she calls it sugar sickness. Yeah. Like, obviously having to remember, like, oh, what's the terminology that they use here? Because in the ancient century, diabetes, that term doesn't exist yet. So I also love that, how she's able to, and people listen to her. People like, you know, I think she does. I mean, hopefully nobody accuses her of being a witch here, but she obviously has, like, a wider knowledge than other people just because she's from the future. Yeah. You know? So, but this nun is not about it.
Well, she says here, she's like, I've never seen a woman understand urinoscopy. Like, obviously not common. So she's, I think, a little curious. But she does say, like, maybe we can essentially, like, have you help in some other ways than just cleaning the chamber pots.
Yes, yeah. Well, yeah, she's kind of seeing Claire maybe have a little bit more value here. Yeah.
Because, again, like, I think game recognizes game. Like, I think she's like, okay, this woman seems legit. Obviously, we'll have to test out that theory, but yes. Also, they're a missionary hospital, so, like, they can use any help they can get.
Right,
you know?
Right. We just got our first glimpse at Fergus.
Oh, did we?
The young boy who's the pickpocket. You know, taking people's things from their pockets and their coins and their blah, 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 blah. And he's just a cute little chap.
We also didn't mention the cute puppy dog, Bouton.
Oh, we didn't.
Bouton lives in the missionary hospital, and he's a good boy.
He's so cute.
He's very cute.
So
he
cute.
sits by the patients. Okay, sorry, but yes, Fergus.
You need a dog at those that totally helps patients.
Yes, I think dogs should be everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes. So Fergus is a child who lives in a brothel. Now I will say,
what an upbringing.
This brothel does seem to be the best possible brothel. From what I can tell.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, the future king.
Yeah.
So they think is there.
Yeah, well, this is who Jamie's having a meeting with. I also love, is every meeting just going to be at a brothel?
Yeah, so I think essentially the idea of doing it at the brothel is, everyone has to be discreet because they're all at a brothel.
Yes.
So it's a good cover for, strategizing and doing things.
Yeah, they're people they don't want to know that they're, congregating, that they're having discussions, and they're having, because, hello, they're even what they're doing now is, oh my gosh, what's the word that begins with the T that I'm thinking of? Against
Tyranny.
The king. Yeah. Treason.
Treason.
Thank you. Right? Would that be considered treason?
Yeah.
Because they're literally just talking about overthrowing him. So yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Which is also, you would probably, at this time, you'd be beheaded. You would be killed for that.
Right. So essentially, Jamie's here with the foot fetish guy who also deals with money. I forget what his exact title is or what his name is.
Yeah, I'm trying to...
Anyway, I was always confused by his character and, this whole part of the plot. Essentially, Jamie's Jamie was like, hey, man.
Duvernay.
Yeah, Duvernay. Jamie's like, hey, man, I forget if he tells him the real story or if he pretends that he's, very interested in supporting the rebellion and wants to know how much money he has and stuff. I can't remember. Anyway, this whole conversation is essentially to decipher how much money has actually been stowed away in support of the rebellion. Mm-hmm. And Bonnie Prince Charlie is like, oh, there's a lot, which is not the answer that they were anticipating. Mm-hmm. And that kind of complicates things.
Yeah. No, I don't think
that's
Duvernay
what's happening in this conversation.
Yeah, I don't think Duvernay is somebody to think he's going to be on your side or to trust him or to.
But I thought
I don't know if he's a double agent and he's going to go back and.
I don't think he is. I just think he's the one that. I don't. Sorry, guys. I don't really remember that plot point.
Well, it's gonna unravel itself.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Anyway, we'll find out.
It's just a small piece. We understand what the puzzle's supposed to be.
We're figuring it out together. Everybody.
We have the cover of the box. We get it. So
gosh,
Jamie comes home.
Room.
I'm obsessed with this apartment.
Look at these mirrors and the gold lining, the chandelier, the fireplace, the color of the wall. I cannot.
The mirrors.
This
I love
is
it.
So. This is way better than
I would love to just have a boudoir.
Oh, for
sure. Deep, rich colors. There's velvet involved. There's mirrors and brass. And
what would you do in there? You just go in there?
I mean, listen, that's between me and the boudoir. Okay?
Look at that clock!
Yeah,
oh my God.
That's indulgent, sumptuous decoration.
Yeah.
I would love that. But it would kill any natural light that you actually get into your residence. Anyway, Jamie came home from what he was doing and was like, where's my wife? She's supposed to just be sitting at home waiting for me. Which is kind of a glimpse back to that first day at Lollybrock where he was like, I'm going to come in and I'm going to be Brock to rock.
Yes, we see a pattern here with Jamie where he feels like he's still old-fashioned and feels like she should be in, be in your place. Home is your place.
So Jamie's like, well, clearly has an attitude. And was like, well, where were you? And she was like, I was at the hospital. And he was like, I'm sorry, what?
But, he is thinking, I don't know if this is his, like, in the forefront, or it is just, like, another additional reason, but she is pregnant. If I was pregnant, or if I had a partner who was pregnant, I'm not sure I would be super comfortable with, you being around a bunch of sick people.
Interesting, because he doesn't really care about her being pregnant any other time that we can see.
Yeah, just earlier once he touched her belly.
He's saying,
maybe he's using it as an excuse. Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
I'm just saying, I think there's, that can't be your reason if it's also, well, I don't know, because then the other side of it, I don't know. What
do you think? Like,
this
Jamie
is the first lovers quarrel that's happening.
Yeah, and I have a feeling it's not going to be the last.
But it really is like the first fight that we.
Oh yeah, no, this gets heated. Like it's definitely, and it stinks because Claire's in a position once again where she has to defend herself and justify her actions.
Because again, it's not there's a way to express your feelings or concerns about it that are not immediately accusing the other person, right? So Jamie had an attitude that she wasn't home when he got home because he wanted to come and share his news.
Yeah.
So that started it. Then the excuse he's using is that it's because she's pregnant and that's dangerous, but there's a lot of subtext there. And again, even if that is a concern, there's a way to share that maturely.
Sure. No, he is having a tantrum.
Listen, we need to talk about this. I have some concerns about that. Let's discuss. Yes. Right? Yes. Instead of you're being negligent with our baby.
Yeah. I think he is also using the fact that he's just what are you doing there? I thought we were supposed to be working on, building the rebellion.
Right.
I think he's also kind of using that as an excuse with hey, why don't you just say, I was going to tell you about my day and look what I'm doing. Yeah.
I do understand a little bit it kind of was her idea, maybe we can change history, and he was all right. It was her idea. He's kind of the one doing all the work. Which isn't necessarily her fault. That's kind of just the way the society is at the moment, right? This is something that she can only play a specific part in. He has to be a part of the conversations, with the men or whatever.
Right, because the conversations are only happening
political.
With men. Yeah.
Play. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel what's very interesting culturally and with the different countries, I feel in Scotland there was more that she could do as a woman, and then in France, there are definitely similarities where they're women here, men here, whatever, keeping your place, but I feel in France it's just again, also because they're living such a wealthy lifestyle, it's just no, you can't go, you can't do any dirty work. Also all the negotiations, you just, chit chat with your girlfriends, the men have to do blah, blah, blah. They also did that for the women, but there were, I don't know. I just feel they were just different blockades. They were just
so.
You know what I mean?
The circumstances were different. First and foremost, here they're living a lifestyle again that's more luxury. Mm-hmm. They have a staff. They have a household.
Yeah.
And the circle that they're working in is also in that format, right? So yes, so the men have business and the women spend the days talking to each other and getting their hoo-has waxed.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes. Whereas when we saw them in Scotland,
Jamie's sister was running Lolly Rock.
Yeah.
Right? People respected when it was a hard woman.
Yes.
Right?
And what we saw was Claire and Jamie in the castle were both serving roles. They were given jobs to do in order to stay in the castle to begin with. Then, of course, they left, went back to Lollybrock, and that's where you see more of like the average family where, yeah, you need to work and get by, and I think we're not seeing that kind of family here in France, right? So we're seeing...
Exactly, right.
Yeah, I don't know. And
definitely a different economic status, which is why I feel like this season, it had to be different. It had to be more fun. They couldn't be living the same kind of lifestyle as they did in Scotland, because we don't want to repeat seasons. We don't want to repeat material. We want to see them mix and mingle with a different crowd of people. Certain other things have to advance.
I think the biggest difference too, like even just thinking about when they were initially at the castle under the Mackenzies' lead, is like that was a male-centric view of that lifestyle. We didn't see the royal women. We didn't really get their perspective at all during that time. So it's like we're not getting the same equivalent of like, oh, royalty in Scotland and royalty or the rich in France. So it's, I think we just got different glimpses. Although, yeah, I do think there's a little more emphasis on like family, or more people had to work in Scotland versus here in France.
Well, specifically also because they're in Paris, and being in a city, where it's like, they were in the countryside. Now you're in a major city.
It's
that also comes with a lot of differences. So Fergus,
Fergus
is caught by Jamie. Because I also love how Fergus accused him being like an English bastard, and he's like, I'm a Scot, and he's like, I'm actually a Scottish bastard. But he was caught pickpocketing, and he was taking a lot of. Fergus is quick, man. He's quite good. He's got them quick fingers. But Jamie's like, it's very, also, I think it's adorable that they both have like very similar hairdos. You're right. It seems like Fergus is a mini Jamie. Isn't that so cute? Which I love how they introduce the character, because, it's just like, oh wow, you've never had like, in Lollybrock you had Jamie's sister, like his nieces, nephews, whatever, like younger kids, but you didn't really have a young kid hanging around Jamie and Claire, the being buddies or doing whatever, business relationship, whatever it is. And then this is like, it's so funny that like Jamie catching Fergus, he's using it as a recruiting opportunity and is kind of in a sense like hiring Fergus to work for him.
Yep.
So I think this is just it's going to be a very adorable dynamic to see it play out and to see evolve. Ooh, also super
Sony. Cute. Fergus stole Sony, which is the wooden snake that he made for his brother, or his brother made for him. I can't remember.
Wow. He still has that.
Yeah, and like he had it in his pocket.
Yeah.
He just carries it with him. Yeah. How cute. So Claire is... Oh, also, just a note about Sony. Claire brought that with her when she was looking for Jamie.
Oh,
so he finally got it.
Right.
Just kind of throwing that out there. I'm pretty sure. So Claire was having a sleepless night, tossing and turning in bed, and she comes down to the dining room, and there's a child eating a chicken leg with his feet up on the table.
Fergus kind of bows.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
He just said she had beautiful breasts. Like,
he's like, Madame, your breasts are beautiful. Which, like, if you grow up in a brothel, that's probably the highest compliment you hear.
And also, she's pregnant, so her boobs are
also like, yes, she does have lovely breasts. Yeah. I would imagine.
It's so fun. It already feels like they're parents. Like, it already feels like we're having a...
Murtaugh's the uncle who's, like, trying to, like...
It's like the
get
sitcom.
The kid in line.
Yeah, Jamie's the dad and Claire's the mom. It just already seems so... It's so cheeky. Like,
he is charming. Claire, like, so smiles for the first time in a while. She smirks.
Honestly, yeah, if they don't have a kid, just get a pet.
Right?
Like, you need something to cheer up this, these walls and stuff.
Yeah. So his real name is Claudel, by the way, but,
Right. He goes by Fergus.
Yeah, but Jamie decided with him that Fergus would be better. Which, like,
and once
why?
again,
I don't know.
Jamie went and made a decision and did not consult Claire. Like, didn't even bother, like, yes, this is both of your, like, houses, like, is this, like, if this is part of your whole plan, but, yeah, I don't know, like, they, again, just another example of how they didn't really talk about something before, like, he went ahead and did it, and, like, Claire's done that many times on her own as well, but also this is like, nice and sweet that Claire acknowledges that the plan Jamie has with recruiting him and using him to get, like, other information from other Englishmen who visit the brothel is a good plan. Like, I think it's nice that there's, like, support, that they're trying to support each other and be like, hey, I think...
they're also so disconnected.
They are.
I know, it's making
does
little
seem like
steps,
they're
I get
trying.
it, and they're, like, checking in totally, I get it. But it's, like, it's so frustrating to see that, because they were so connected before.
And it does, like, I would definitely feel that. If I was Claire, I would feel like, yeah, it was totally like us, in the thick of it in Scotland. I was, like, there saving you from a jail cell, and, like, now she's totally on the outside.
Yeah, well, and I think they have all of, like, they have a variety of things pulling them apart, like, or pushing them apart. Everything that Jamie went through, even that Claire went through. Also, don't forget, he was missing for a long time. That had to be, like, months that Claire and Murtaugh were searching for him. So, like, it's been a really, really long time since they have been on the same page, been, like, locked in with each other. When you're away from someone...
Yeah, I mean, but they had a nice long boat ride from Scotland to France, so, like...
I guess.
Why didn't they, like, I get, like, anytime, right, you travel to, you're on a trip or you're going someplace, the expectations... what you have, like, the expectations you have for how things are going to pan out are never what they never measure up to reality. Yeah. They're never what the thing is. They had no idea what they were going to have in store for them.
They were fleeing to France. Yeah. It's not like they were like, what would be a lovely change of scenery?
Yeah, vacay!
Like, they were running away from a lot. The price on his head... Blackjack Randall, the memory of what happened in that prison, not being able to go to their families, like, just a lot.
Yeah, oh my gosh, like, when is he gonna see his sister? When is he gonna see any of his friends in Scotland? The whole, like, that's just... Yeah, you just live, you just go on, you just don't.
Can I tell you a really, like, stupid moment I had when I was watching this for the first time? When they, like, mentioned a boat, I was like, oh my god, boats existed. Like, back in the end of season 1. Like, yes, I guess because we were so landlocked, like, in the Highlands of Scotland that I just completely forgot, like, what else was happening around the world at that time, because I was like, yes, boats, of course.
But bodies of water, canals, the original way before trains, people, the original way. How else were we supposed to get our goods?
And, like, how else can we write a letter to people?
New land. Yeah.
And, like, probably a fair chance of it reaching them.
Also, yeah, those. Oh my god, I would not want to be on a boat ride back then. Those boats were nasty.
No.
Getting seasick wherever you're staying is not clean and comfortable and cute.
Hammock?
Stuffed with a bunch of other people.
No.
And also that boat, that's not modern design. That boat's gonna rock. Like, you're also going through. How are you able to, track the weather? Like, what if you're going through? What if you don't even make it and your boat just gets torn up by a wave?
That is one of the. Okay, do you remember what? Was it Storm or something? What was that big movie with George Clooney?
A big movie with George Clooney is...
Anyway, it was frightening.
He was on a boat?
Yeah, they were like fishermen.
Have I seen this?
Or like
The Perfect Storm.
Yeah, The Perfect Storm. Frightening.
I don't think I've ever seen The Perfect Storm.
It's anxiety inducing.
Oh, Mark Wahlberg is in this?
Yeah, it's like a lot of people.
It was made in 2000.
Yeah, it's just like giant waves. Like, that frightens me to think of that. Because I also don't understand when ships don't wreck from storms. Like,
ships still get wrecked now. Yeah,
I'm like, but it just should happen all the time because I don't understand how it doesn't.
Well, people are,
physics, I guess.
Well, hopefully wiser to know not when to sail at certain times to do. But of course, like, what's that show of like Fisherman the Deadliest Catch?
Yes.
Like, it's actually that's fucking hard. Like, who wants to live at that time?
I'm sorry. I'm watching some gross
Claire's doing some surgery.
Pimple Popper MD type of stuff. Okay, first of all, snaps for Bouton, who climbed on this guy who was like this patient who was clearly not doing well. And they're like, we don't know what his deal is. And Bouton like sat on the thing and they're like, Bouton, where's his ailment? And Bouton like sniffed around and was like, it's in his leg. And they're like,
just knew.
No, look, everything's healed. And Bouton's like, I said it's in his leg. And so they realized he had this whole infection under the surface.
Yeah, someone's got to give that dog a PhD.
Yeah.
I
was trying to think of a joke.
Well, when you think of it, I can't tell me. Come back to it.
I don't know.
Like a woof MD.
Because it's like, give a dog a bone, give a dog a PhD. There's something somewhere in there.
Yes. Yeah, somewhere in there. I think it was also important that Jamie just came into the scene and saw Claire at work. Just again to remind himself that, like, yes, she is of value and she is doing something useful, and I can see why she takes great care and this is significant and she really enjoys it and likes it and blah blah blah. He did initially just come to the missionary to ask Hildegarde about these music lyrics, which they believe is in code.
Yes, also...
musical notes.
I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead because that's the coolest thing ever. Mother Hildegarde was like, oh, I read music, let me see it. Because they have this sheet music.
Also, it's in German.
But not that. She goes, this looks real familiar. It's like the work of my friend back in Germany. Her Bach. And Claire's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Do you mean Johann Sebastian Bach? And she's like, yes. Meanwhile, that is just a friend of hers from Germany. Yeah. And to Claire, he is one of the greatest composers of all time.
Yes. Yeah. 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 It just gives her chills. It's probably still so exciting because, you're just like, oh my God, like, I forgot I'm living in the time these people are living.
Because, like, okay, Scottish people that dealt with your husband's familial line, okay. Johann Sebastian Bach, like, everyone knows.
Wait, Bach it up a bit. Like,
Love it.
I couldn't help myself.
Can barely maintain my composure.
Ooh, that was also good. Very good. Look at us. Look at us. Nobody can look at us, but you can hear us.
Anyway, Mother Hildegarde's like, no, wait. Let's not forget about, wow, I was trying to think of the musical term and I can't.
I don't know what you're referring to.
To change keys. No, not transpose.
Transcribe? No, that's a dumb word.
Get ready for the key change, but there's a word. Modulation is what I was trying to say.
Yep, that's it. Modulation. Good job. Yeah, I was like, what? Where are you?
So she's essentially she's like, that's where the code lies. So
yes.
Basically, they find out he's raised 40,000 pounds.
Yeah, it's
which
a good amount.
During that time is a lot, but Jamie's like, that's not a lot, not enough. It's a lot, but not enough to fund a whole war. So
they're definitely, they think there is a chance to convey the Prince and Duvernay about the Jacobite Rebellion.
So their hope, I guess, is to... Yes. So up to this point, Jamie...
Well, are they still trying to crack... Oh, same.
Yes. So essentially, Jamie approached Duvernay under the guise that he was also in support of the Jacobite Rebellion. And that he wanted to meet with Bonnie Prince Charlie to discuss funds and stuff like that. So now what he's going to try and do is...
Convince Sangream that this is a bad investment because he's...
convince Duvernay to not back Bonnie Prince Charlie. Because Duvernay is the one that holds all the money that is still up in the air.
But he's going to meet Sangream.
Well, so now they intercepted this letter from the next, this new investor or whatever to figure out who it is and what's going down, when it's going to happen. So they find out through the letter that it's the Duke of Sandringham, who holds the rest of the money and is going to meet with Bonnie Prince Charlie to give him the money this month. So now their timeline has completely condensed. They realize it's the Duke of Sandringham.
And also, Murtaugh just whispered to Claire, because it is a thing to note, that if Jamie goes and meets with this gentleman, it's possible that he'll find out or see, that Blackjack Randall is alive.
Right. So,
it's very interesting. It's like they're all trying to play a game here, but, Claire and Murtaugh are trying to be how, and before she even says a word, he knows something, Jamie knows something's up. Which, also, yeah, you're not hiding it well, Claire. I can see, your chest move up and down, and, your...
Oh, and she chickens out, and she's like, I just love seeing you so happy. Because also he, toasted to his wife.
And now they're kissing. Of course, don't say anything about Blackjack, because then maybe you won't get laid. Maybe you can, have sex right now or something.
That's not the right moment to say it.
It's not.
She's not gonna...
He just made progress in this.
It's the first time he's been, happy, yeah. I guess, since... Oh, wow. That's it.
That's it. It's the end of the episode.
That was a quick one, I feel like.
We are moving on to the scoring section. To remind you all of the categories, steaminess, plot, feminine power, costume set, and cringe factor. So, steaminess. Not a lot of steaminess in this episode. Definitely.
I mean, Murtaugh got some.
He did.
That was about it.
He did. That is one. Also, I guess, Fergus complimenting Claire's boobs. I
mean, they did. One thing we didn't talk about is in the brothel, they painted a naked woman's front body to look like her back body.
Yeah, that was hella confusing.
So that was a thing that happened.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it a 1.
Yeah, I'll give it a 1, strictly for Murtaugh getting some.
Yes. Plot. A lot happened. Obviously, with just the ending information that was revealed. I feel like that definitely carries a lot of weight. What were you gonna give it?
I'm giving it a 2.5 because Fergus was introduced. Mm-hmm. We discovered that there's some kind of relationship between the Comte Saint-Germain and Monsieur Prémont. There's the whole thing that's happening with trying to stop the rebellion, but I just feel like it's kind of muddied and I never fully, totally understood it. So yeah, I would give it a 2.5.
We're still leading up to a bunch of stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just don't necessarily love all this stuff.
Yeah.
But a 2.5.
I see what you're saying. I gave it a 3. Feminine power. I mean, Claire, once again, holding her own with her medical knowledge and being of assistance. And I'm trying to think, what other strong women have we seen? Mary Hawkins,
Hildegarde.
Oh, yes, right? Yeah.
Like a whole hospital being run by nuns. Mm-hmm. Snaps for the ladies.
Yes.
I give it a 2.5.
Yeah, I was giving it a 3. No, I'm going to give it a 2.
Okay.
Costume and set. I mean, it's just going to be high for so many episodes. Yeah. Like, the interior of their house, the more we get to see, I love, and the more of Claire's outfits.
I'm obsessed.
I love.
When she first went to the hospital, I loved that color combination. It was like a teal blue and like an eggplant color. Loved it.
So good.
5 from me.
I'm giving it a 4. Just because, I don't know, maybe I'm just like waiting for something to really wow me.
Yeah.
Cringe factor. I never like when it's gross stuff at the hospital.
I didn't love the gross stuff either. That was a lot of pus that came out.
It's gross.
So not great. Also, she tasted urine. Don't love that. Because that's how she realized the woman had diabetes.
Yeah. Yeah, probably a negative.
I'll say
2.
Yeah, -2 is also what I'm giving it. Alright, great. So thank you for joining us for season 2, episode 4. Please make sure you like, subscribe, follow, comment, all that good stuff. Follow us on Instagram and share us with your friends. Bye!